In this video, I'm going to go over some programming using the blocks in uh, Tinkercad for our Arduino. Eventually, what we're going to do is we're going to take these blocks and we're actually going to convert them to text, and then we'll download that to the Arduino and get it all to work. For now, let's get our simulation all working. This is assuming that we have the get moving assignment that was completed, already wired and all of that. I left a couple notes right here. One of them is enable 1 and 2. That is set to pin 11. You actually do have options in the assignment in get moving. I was very specific about where I asked you to put those. And there are options, especially for later on. For that, this is enable 1 and 2 is that power level, and so the power level can actually change. And the way that is done in Arduino is not by decreasing the power or increasing the power. What it actually happens is the PWM is this way of having still our digital output of either running at high, running at low, or a 1 or a 0, and just changing the amount of time that happens. And so in a given amount of time, 50% would be 50% on, 50% off. And so we can change that kind of power level based on how much time the pin is set to on versus how much time it is set to off, which is actually used quite a bit in a lot of different ways. That's anytime you look at a microwave and you have a different power level, the power doesn't change. It's that the microwave is on for 50% of the time if it's at 50%. So anyway, that's just a way to kind of tell you about how some of these digital pins up on this top rail can change the power level even though it stays digital. It's either 1 or 0, it's on or off. And I put in a comment here, and I just did this notation. And this is so I remember what is how my wiring is all hooked up. Same thing here. My input 1 is pin 10. Input 2 is pin 9. That's just so I can remember. So then we get into our output. And for this, I'm going to have the motor, and I'm just going to try to get it to work where it turns on for a while and then turns off. And by default, you're given a forever and an on start. And so I'm actually going to move all this over to on start. And this won't repeat. It's just going to do the thing and then be done. And so I'm actually going to take this forever and remove that. These orange ones are considered control, and so it is where you can start things, you can wait, you can repeat, and then you can actually, we'll talk more about conditions, and we'll repeat while a condition is true. And we'll also be talking a little bit about these ifs and then if-else statements here. For right now, we're just trying to get our little car to move, and we're trying to get these motors to move in the way we want to. And so we're going to really talk about that output. And so I'm going to start from the top and first go to the power level. And so I'm going to move my mouse over here, and I'm going to set my pin, not 3, but rather 11. That's the one that's controlling the power. And I'm going to set that to some number between 0 and 255. 255 is the full power, 0 is the least power. And so I'll put that just at 100. I just kind of like that number right now. but this is how we can change how fast or slow the motor is going. You'll notice that not all of those ports are actually, not 1 through 13 are available to us, just these certain ones. Because on the Arduino, these are the ones that are set up with the PWM that can actually change how long they're at full power and then how long they are at no power. Um, and so I set mine to 11, which is part of the reason we set that enable to pin 11. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to set our other pins, our input pins, to either be high or low. And so I have 10 and 9. And these need to allow, we kind of talked about those H bridges, and one of them we can kind of think of has to be high, have high voltage, and the other one has to be low, and that will allow the current to flow from the high potential to the low potential. Okay, and so we've got this to turn on, and I'm going to start the simulation and see what happens. We can see that it just kind of turns the motor on and seems to work. If I stop that and I change this to a different number, we can hit start and we can see it's moving much faster now. And so 255 is going to be that full power that we've got. So that's how we change our the motor power, how fast it's going to go. And then if we want to change the direction, that's a big part of using this motor controller, is we flip these two conditions. And so we say that pin 10 is now low and pin 9 is high, which is the opposite of what we just had. And you're going to notice that instead of being a positive 160 RPMs, it's negative. And that's our way of showing that it is moving the opposite direction. And so now we have our motor able to move forwards and backwards, or clockwise and counterclockwise. So that is the first step of this get moving adventure. And so get this working and get this all wired up, and that's kind of our test to see if we're able to get this to move. Later on, what we're going to do is we're going to change this and have it stop. I would set these both to low, and actually I can show you what happens there. You can see it doesn't move, and that's because we have low potential to low potential. And so we're able to stop it. What we're going to do is have it move forward for a little while and stop, and we're going to try to be really consistent about it.